Advanced Heroquest Gaming Aids. Dungeon Generator. Catacombs. Some time ago, for our games of Advanced Heroquest, we shared our dungeon generation card system. Today, we present another version of this deck for use in games set in Catacombs, a tomb complex filled with the coffins of long-dead heroes and warriors. This is a recreation of the charts created for the Eyes of Chaos adventure, published in White Dwarf and written by Carl Sargent. This particular deck does two things. It firstly simplifies the dungeon generation mathematics from the original rulebook, and then it also adds in a new room type: tomb rooms. Tomb rooms are effectively normal rooms that contain a single coffin, with rules only applicable to this particular adventure. But we feel they offer the inventive games master an opportunity to spice up the exploration phase. In the original Eyes of Chaos adventure, the tombs simply contain the dead remains of one of the NPC's comrades. They contain no treasure, and players are encouraged to not open them. Opening one will force a toughness test and a potential strength stat decrease, and opening yet one more will cause the NPC to leave the party. However, in other games, they could be used by the GM to add a single undead wandering monster to an exploration without having to be wholly dependent on dungeon counters generated during the GM phase. Or perhaps they could be used to add in sort of mini layers to keep the action ticking along. These are of course just a couple of ideas, but I'm sure you can come up with your own inventive ways of using tomb rooms. Anyway, that's the premise for this deck. Let's get into it. The rest of the video is split into the following two sections. 1. How does it work? 2. How do you make it, and where can you get the cards for free? How does it work? Essentially, like our previous deck, in lieu of rolling dice to generate the features of a random dungeon, the card deck is used. When you enter a new dungeon area, you simply flip the top card of each of the piles to generate what you find. This Catacombs deck uses different tables from the original deck, so the first step was to once more analyze the dice probabilities on these tables. The dungeon generation charts in the original Advanced Heroquest rulebook use either a single 12-sided die or a pair of 12-sided dice, with each value being assigned a result. However, the Catacombs tables are simpler, only using a single D12 for each table. This simplifies the first step considerably. I thus began by working out the likelihood of each result, both in raw numbers and then as a percentage. Once more, we have plumped for creating 4 separate card decks that work in harmony together. These recreate the tables for corridors, features, corridor endings, and rooms, and include the number of doors each room has on the card. This time around, we decided that each deck was going to have 25 cards in it, as opposed to the 20 we used in our first deck. As a Magic the Gathering EDH player, 100 cards in total feels like a manageable number to me now. Basically, each of these 25 card decks contains 2 cards for each single value of the roll of a d12, plus a shuffle card. When this card is drawn, it causes all the cards in the deck, both those drawn and those yet to be drawn, to be shuffled back into the deck, and then the top card flipped. This card is key to remove unwanted predictability in the deck. The breakdown of each deck is as follows. The Passage Length deck consists of 6 cards depicting 1 section, 12 cards depicting 2 sections, 6 cards depicting 3 sections, and 1 shuffle card. The Passage Features deck consists of 4 cards depicting wandering monsters, 8 cards depicting nothing, 8 cards depicting a door, 4 cards depicting 2 doors, and 1 shuffle card. The Passage End deck consists of 8 cards depicting a T-junction, 4 cards depicting a dead end, 6 cards depicting a right turn, 6 cards depicting a left turn, and 1 shuffle card. You may have noticed that there are no stairs in this deck, unlike the standard deck. The reason is that in the Catacombs deck and the adventure The Eyes of Chaos, the stairs are found inside quest rooms. However, to add some modality to the deck, we've included 2 spare stair cards. To use these, simply swap out 2 T-junctions for the 2 stairs cards. We've also included an additional 2 wandering monster cards for GMs who wish to up the ante for heroes parties by adding in more monsters. To use these, you simply swap out 2 nothing cards from the Passage Features deck. And so, finally, we have cards to determine rooms. For this, I combined the rough probabilities from both the room type and door number tables. The room type deck consists of 4 cards depicting small normal rooms, 2 with no door, 1 with 1 door, and 1 with 2 doors. You then have 4 cards depicting small tomb rooms. Again, 2 with no door, 1 with 1 door, and 1 with 2 doors. Next is 4 cards depicting small hazard rooms, 2 with no door, 1 with 1 door, and 1 with 2 doors. Next up, we have 4 cards depicting large layers, 2 with no door, 1 with 1 door, and 1 with 2 doors. And then 6 cards depicting large tomb rooms, 3 with no door, 2 with 1 door, and 1 with 2 doors. And next, we have 2 cards depicting large quest rooms, 1 with no door and 1 with 1 door. And finally, a shuffle card. Now, normally when you generate a room, you roll for the room and its contents first, and then after that you roll yet another d12 to see how many additional doors are in the room in addition to the entrance. There are only 3 options though. 2 additional doors, which come up 20% of the time, 1 additional door, which comes up 40% of the time, or no additional doors, which again comes up 40% of the time. This seemed easy enough to actually put on the card with the room, so that as you flip the card to generate the room, you also see how many doors are there at the same time. I did put my hand slightly on the scales here though, in favour of less doors in each case, with quest rooms in particular losing the option for 2 doors. This option seemed unnecessary to me, as in this particular deck, quest rooms also contain a set of stairs. So, how do you use the deck? Well, just like in the original rulebook and the original White Dwarf Scenario that this deck comes from, there are 3 different things that are generated when a new piece of dungeon is revealed at a corner or junction. In the original scenario, you roll a single d12 and then consult the relevant table for corridor length. Then repeat this for passage features in the corridor, and then finally you roll yet another d12 to see how the corridor ends. Using these cards, you simply flip the top 3 cards of each deck. The process for doing rooms when you open a door uses a separate single deck. When a door is opened, you simply flip the top card. Finished. Thus, apart from the need to shuffle every 1 in 25 draws, the process is quick and easy. How do you get these cards? It's easy. I have made a PDF of all the cards. There is a link in the video description to the file. Download it, print them off. Each card has a front and a back. Simply glue them together and then, we laminated them. You could, of course, back them to card. After you've done that, you're good to go. There are also 2 pages which include the dungeon features from the scenario. One of these pages features the tombs, which can be cut out either as oblongs, or if you're feeling particularly handy, you can also cut out the decoration pieces that stick out from the bottom corners. I did that on one, but it's quite time consuming. There is also another sheet which has stairs on it, which can be used in the quest rooms. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, please leave them in the comments. In the meantime, feel free to give these cards a try, and any feedback whatsoever would be greatly appreciated. Enjoy your gaming and survive your dungeons.